Hey everybody, it's Strict9 with Strict9 GP, and welcome to another episode of my Out of the Park Baseball 19 GM Challenge with the Reds. This should be episode 32, I believe, so we're getting up there in episodes on this one as well. We left it last time. We just finished spring training, got the rosters and pitching staff set, and now we're a month into the season. I kind of wanted to see how we were going to play before I came back, and we're looking really good. Season couldn't have started out much better. We are 18 and 11, so that's 621. I know we're early, just 29 games in, but we're in first place in the Central, a game and a half over St. Louis, two and a half over Chicago. We've had some good play from some young players, young guys on offense. That's primarily been driving it, but I think the pitching staff is a little bit more balanced and really liking what I've got going there. But I'm going to go ahead and start out looking at the league, then the team, and then we'll play ahead. Maybe get a month or so forward into the season. Might not get quite to the draft, but hopefully we'll get close. So first off, let's just take a look at the rest of the league. So we're in the 2022 season. I think this is my fifth season on this playthrough. You can see in the American League starting there, the Yankees are still a pretty dominant team. The Blue Jays and Red Sox having decent years. That's a pretty tight division there in the American League East. Kansas City off to a good start in the Central, in the American League Central. They actually have the best record in the American League at 18 and 10. And then Houston and Texas, Oakland, the Angels too, not too far out in the American League West. Seattle really struggling starting out. So I think we had some milestones already. Uh, if I'm not mistaken, let me double check. But I think we had on the Yankees, we had Stanton make it to 500 home runs already. So he's out on pace for 40 plus. His average is about where it's usually at. But yeah, he hit his 500th home run already this season. So it's going to depend on if he plays out this contract. I mean, this guy might get close to 700 or so. Might challenge for that all-time lead. Be interesting to see how close he comes. But he's not on any of the leaderboards that I can see. Altuve is off to a pretty good start for Houston and productivity-wise, on pace for 184 RBIs. That's pretty impressive. And then in the National League, we got the Phillies off to a great start in the East. They have not quite the best record, but at 17 and 9, they're up there pretty good. Mets having a good year. Miami's still struggling. Then you see us in the Central. St. Louis off to a pretty good start too for them. And then the Dodgers, best record in baseball at 20 and 9. Not running away with it completely because we're too early, but a healthy 5-game lead over Colorado and Arizona in the National League West. And then for us, you're going to see a couple of leaderboard things here several from the Reds. One big positive has been Trevor Cadd. This is his first chance starting in the majors. He's only 22, about to turn 23 in a month or so, a month and a half. He's off to a phenomenal start, and I think I mentioned it the last episode, but Girardi likes playing these rookies in this playthrough, or at least Girardi's AI. And we've had like a couple of rookies of the year already in this playthrough since I started simming in 2018. I wouldn't rule out us having another one. And Cat is off to a great start, on pace for 200 plus hits, almost 90, almost 100 runs. His speed is up there. So I expected him to hit for a high average. I just want him to get his defense up a little bit better and just consistent, a little bit more consistent overall. But Taylor Trammell off to a good start, leading the league in stolen bases, on pace for 67, and hasn't been thrown out yet. So he was an All-Star last year. No, he was he was his Division Series MVP. I thought he won an award last year, but maybe not. But he's off to a great start to the year anyway. And then we've got Castillo leading the league in pitcher WAR. He's off to a good start. Only 3 wins, but a low ERA. Strikeout numbers are good. WHIP's good. So I'm happy to see he's off to a good start. And then Chad Green also on that pitcher war. He is 8 saves already. I don't think he hasn't given up a run yet. Off to a phenomenal start. And just taking a look at the team individually, let's go ahead and look at the team stats first. So we're 16-11 in April, 18-11 now overall. We're not at the top of too many leaderboards. Batting average is pretty high at second overall, hits, but stolen bases first. But power and slugging and on-base percentage, those are, middle or below for the most part in the National League. And it's same with pitching. Bullpen ERA is 6th. Starters ERA is 8th. First in strikeouts, third in walks. It just looks like we are getting the wins when we need them. Defensive efficiency is last in the league. So this alarms me a little bit, but I feel like there was a stretch there early in the season where we started out pretty rough, and we're still recovering from that bad stretch. So I think as the averages play out for the rest of the year, I expect us to get a little bit better rather than worse. Hopefully I'm not overconfident with that, but I feel like that's what's going to happen. But individually, we'll take a look at the pitching staff. Castillo off to a good year start. Keuchel has been up and down. I still feel like he was a pretty good trade for me. I traded away Jesse Winker, who 2.5 stars. He's starting for the Dodgers, and he's probably going to have a decent season for them. But I really needed that pitching more than I needed Winker in the outfield. Molly off to a great start, 4 wins already. ERA's been pretty low. Weaver has been hit pretty hard. I don't know if he's going to be able to keep his starting slot. I mean, he's right now at 5th in the rotation, and Girardi has been moving some guys in and out of that 5th and 4th spot. He's given Drake Fellows a chance, for instance, at starting. He started 3 games this year, hasn't looked all that great. Alcantara started some. Hunter Green might get a chance to start. He started off the year on the DL though. But I've got some guys in the bowl in AAA if I need to call them up. So I feel like I've got pretty good depth pitching wise. And then on the lineup side, rookie catcher Rutschman. I don't know if he's going to be the starter. He started out the year as the starter, but I think Feliciano is probably going to wind up getting the bulk of the starting duties, I guess, for the rest of the year, and he's off to a better start offensively. But not just Cad, but Ramirez, who is the guy who was pretty much our hero of the playoffs last year. Eric Ramirez is still a rookie. This guy was a 32nd round draft pick from me in the 2018 season. He was the National League Rookie of the Month for April, and he's off to a great start. 9 home runs, 27 RBIs. His average has dipped down below where it was from early in the month of April. I mean, he was hitting 400 plus in the high 300s for a lot of the month, but he's on pace for 50 home runs, 151 RBIs. This guy, I've got a good feeling about this guy. With Votto retiring in the offseason, Ramirez might hang on to that first base job now for the next few years if he keeps developing. I know he's just potential is just 2.5 stars from my scout, 3 from OSA, but he's got great contact and power. I feel like that starting job is his really to lose, and he's hasn't disappointed so far. And then you've got Estrada, who has surprisingly taken over most of the shortstop duties from Simmons. Simmons is just off to a terrible start, and Simmons has a vesting option in this last year, so if he doesn't meet it, this might be it for him. But I expected him to play a little bit better. He's still a great defensive shortstop, but his offense is really struggling. So I mentioned Trammell off to a good year. Gibson is off to a good start. Production-wise, on pace for 30-plus homers, 100-plus RBIs, which is what he's done the last 2 seasons anyway. But the only thing that I'm kind of concerned with on this team is the outfield depth. I like Almora, although he's off to a pretty poor start. But overall, Friedel, Mangum, I'm relying on, even though they're coming off the bench, a couple guys there who I really don't think should be in the majors. And Mangum, for instance, just barely hitting over 200. He's got good speed, good defense, but I don't know. I think Friedel is even worse at this point. He's after being a really good bench player the last couple years. I think he's taken a big downturn, and I may have to look for some kind of replacement. And unfortunately, it's not going to come from AAA because I've got a lot of good pitching depth there in AAA, but I really don't have any offense that I can call up short of Bellinger, and he's only rated defensively at first base, and I don't really need him at first base right now. So I'm not sure if I might wind up trading some of these relievers that I've got in the AAA, and there's several here like Puck, Santillan, Maciel, Ohanian. These guys, Rivera. I mean, these guys are really ready for the majors. It's just I don't really need them right now unless some of these guys like McGee, who I picked up in the offseason, if some of these guys start tanking, it's nice to know that I've got some options in AAA, but I don't want to lose too much of that. But as the season goes on, I might wind up having to, if I can't pick up somebody on the waiver wire, I might have to trade one of these guys for a dependable platoon outfielder that'll bolster that offense a little bit. But that's how we're looking right now. Let's go ahead and we're going to play through a few weeks here, maybe get another month further into the season. We're going to be starting off at home against Pittsburgh, and I'll just do it game at a time if it's okay. And we start out with a win, 6-2. Trammell, another decent game. Senzel, 3 RBIs. Senzel has struggled a little bit as well. I don't know what to make of him. If you watch the episodes from the playoffs last year, he was really cold in the playoffs, so he hasn't really bounced back from that. I don't know what kind of player he's going to be. His individual ratings, though, look so solid. I'm surprised how poorly he's playing. Gibson, another good game, though. Ramirez hit his 10th home run, and pitching-wise, Weaver, solid outing, 7 1/3, just 2 earned runs to pick up his second win. Cad is now hitting 20 straight games. I didn't realize that, but yeah, he was 1 for 4. So second game of the series, another win, 4-3. Cad now up to 21 games, 2 for 4 in this game. Senzel 2 for 4, good game. Maybe he's getting on a good run. And then Molly didn't get the win, 5 innings, just 2 runs, but the bullpen looked good there for the most part in relief. And now third game against Pittsburgh. Are we going to sweep them? And they're going to come out with the draft pool, looks like, and we don't. We lose 4-8. I'm interested to see while that's coming up where we're going to draft this year. So we're 22nd. We're going to have a pretty low draft pick. And no picks in the supplemental round. So I don't expect the draft to be too great this year. Cad, though, keeps his hit streak going. He's 2 for 4 in this game, but Hunter Green played third. I'm kind of amazed at what Girardi's been doing with Green. I think Green has got more playtime offensively than offensively. Let me see if his batting stats. Well, just 12 at-bats. He's hitting .333. Not too bad. But it looks like Keuchel didn't get the loss here. Didn't pitch too poorly, really, but Bradley blew it in the bullpen, and Green didn't do too good either. So now we're going to be series opening up against Philadelphia. Phillies are probably still, they're still playing really good, 621 on the year. First game rained out. We got a doubleheader now, and we split it. Won the first one 5-2 at home. Cad, another hit. Ramirez, another home run. His average is dipping, but still on pace for 50-plus home runs. Long had a pretty good game here. And Castillo, a 4th win for him. His ERA is down to 191. Green got his 9th save. Man, I'm liking what I'm seeing from Castillo this year. I don't know. He's 29. He's got another year left of arbitration, looks like. So I'm not going to have to worry too much about re-signing him yet. And then in the second game, Trevor Cadd still hitting. Ramirez was 2 for 5. Kim Gibson looks like he got his 8th home run. But pitching wise, they went with Alcantara in this one. Got knocked around a little bit. And Fellows, at this point, it might be time to kind of move him down to AAA and give him some time there. He has frontline starter potential. I don't really want to. It's always tough to figure what to do when you've got a guy in this predicament. Just looking at his individual ratings, he should be ready to go, but he's not pitching as well as he needs to be. And I worry about moving him down right now in AAA. I don't know if that's going to hurt his development or if it's going to improve it. And gosh, it's just so tough to know. I think I'm gonna give him a little bit more time in the majors, but probably gonna have to keep a closer watch on him because he's not doing well at all. So we got the third and final game against Philadelphia today, and we lose 1-2. So they won that series from us. Cadd looks like he didn't play in this one, so his hitting streak's still going. Weaver, solid game, but just couldn't get the win in this one. Offense wasn't there. So let's look at the news for the week. Anthony Rendon was a player. He's with Texas now. He's a player of the week in the American League. Charlie Blackmon off to a pretty good start for Colorado. He was player of the week in the American League or National League. And now power rankings, we're 5th. Standings, we are just a game up on St. Louis now. 3 games up on the Cubs. Trevor Cadd, I think he's up to 24 games in that hitting streak. So I haven't seen a hitting streak like that, I don't think, in a while. So we got 3 games at home against Miami. Miami off to a pretty poor start, 14-20. Let's see if we can keep it going here. And we lose that first one 7-8. Trevor Cadd continues to hit. Trammell, great game from him. He's on pace now for some pretty decent home run numbers. Ramirez, 2 for 5, so his average is back up to 292. Shedrick Long hitting pretty good. Almora, though, struggling, and Simmons continues to struggle. Molly, 6 innings, 3 runs, so could have been better. And Fellows blew the save. So at this point, Fellows is on a short leash. I feel like 1 or 2 more bad outings like that, I'm going to send him down AAA. And now we've got Cadd up to 25 games now. So second game against Miami, we lose 2-9. And some news here, Evan Longoria is going to be retiring, but we're in danger of losing our lead there in the Central. Trevor Cadd, 2 for 3. His average is up now above 400, so the guy keeps hitting. Ramirez keeps hitting. Keuchel, his 3rd loss for us, didn't look too good, but Fellows had a good relief outing finally. 3 1/3, no runs, 5 Ks. So we need to win this game against Miami just to salvage it and prevent the sweep. And we do win it 4-1. Let's take a look at the game first. Trevor Cadd was hitless, so his hit streak ends. Senzel still struggling, 2 for 4, though, 3 RBIs in this game. Long was 2 for 4. And Castillo didn't get the win, but he pitched good again, 4 1/3, just a run. Green got his 10th save. And let's take a look at the news. So Anthony Rizzo hits his 300th home run, and Trevor Cadd, 26-game hitting streak, comes to an end. But that's pretty good. I haven't seen that kind of a hitting streak, certainly on a Reds player in a while. So now we're going to be on the road for 4 games against Colorado, and we open it up 11-7. See what we had here. Trevor Cadd got a hit in this game. Ramirez, 2 for 6. Shedrick Long, good game. Rutschman, a good game, 2 for 5, drove in 4. And Looks like Alcantara was a starter, but he gave five runs in 4 innings. Bullpen didn't look that great, but Chad Green got his 11th save. So now game 2 against Colorado, and we lose 6-7. Offensively, still some good performances here from Cad Trammell. Man, he's looking even better. On pace for 200 plus hits, 138 runs. I like his eye discipline. You can see he's on pace for around 100 walks, and that on base percentage right now, 424. That would be amazing. That's the kind of leadoff hitter we've really been needing. Ramirez got his 12th home run. He's now hitting above 300 for the year. But pitching-wise, Weaver rocked again. 5 innings, 4 runs. Fellows, though, another good outing from him. So that's good news. Let's go to the news real quick. Who's this Holder, Jonathan Holder? He's out for 5 weeks. So game 3 against Colorado, we lose big, 7-0. So we're just a half game now above St. Louis. Not playing good at all. Trammell, Estrada, just 3 hits in the game. Molly was just obliterated. 7 innings, 7 runs. Molly is a free agent after this year, and this is what scares me. I'm hesitant to re-sign him for what he's wanting. I think the last time I looked, he's wanting a long-term contract. I just don't know if I want to go. I might want to get close to $10 million or so, but I don't really want to go much further than that. And $14.5 million, I don't think this guy's worth that at this point. He's just been really inconsistent, unfortunately. At $6 million or so a year, I think it was a good bargain, but for his career in this playthrough at 4.71 ERA, I think I just really need to look for something better in the offseason. But now, 4th game against Colorado, let's see if we can salvage a split. And we lose 1-6, and barely hanging on, just a half game up on St. Louis now. Trevor Cad got a hit. Gibson looks like he may have hit his 9th home run. But that was a tough series for us. Keuchel was hit really hard again. Fellows looks like he had another good outing. Let me see if so the last week, four games, 8 innings, 2.25 ERAs, 11 strikeouts in 8 innings. So that's not too bad. He needs to continue that though, or I'm going to have to send him down. Let's look at the news for the week. American League Player of the Week, Joe Rizzo. I'm not familiar with him. Looks like he's a rookie in Seattle. And Rhys Hoskins, Player of the Week for the National League. He's off to a good start. 17 home runs already. And then power rankings, we are all the way down to 13th. And you can see with the standings, we're just a half game above St. Louis. Mets still playing strong in the East, strong enough that they overcame Philadelphia. Dodgers getting a little bit of a run now from the Rockies. And then in the American League, Toronto on a 7-game winning streak, just one game and a half behind the Yankees. Kansas City struggling, and Houston still playing really well. Aaron Judge, 14 home runs. He's off to a good start. He hasn't been a dominant player in this playthrough. He's got a really big contract there for the Yankees, but you can see he's 224 home runs now for his career, but a low batting average, a lot of strikeouts. So he's not really been doing all that great. Billy Hamilton is with the Royals this year and getting most of the starting. It looks like he's playing most of their games in center, and off to a pretty good pace with stolen bases. So I'm curious now. He's 488, so he's close to 500 steals for his career in this playthrough. So not bad. Let's see if there's anybody over here. Trevor Cad still, he's at 2nd in the league, National League, in batting average. Ramirez 3rd in RBIs, but man, Hoskins having a great year. I'm going to take a look at the waiver wire. I haven't checked that out in a while. Still looking for someone who would be a good option off the bench and in the outfield. Florial wants to be a starter, and I don't like his contact rating. I don't think that would be much of an improvement over what I've got. Iglesias, a former Red, still struggling in the league to kind of make a name for himself. So we're going to start the next week on the road against San Francisco. We need to bounce back. San Francisco, let's see where their record is. They're last in the National League West. We need to have a good series here, at least 2 or 3 from them. And first game on the road, we win 8-1, so that's a good start. Trammell drove in a couple. Ramirez looks like he hit another home run, a couple RBIs. Rutschman looking a little bit better now at catching. He's had a couple games I've noticed here pretty good. But Castillo, 7 strong innings, just 1 run, 5th win for him. On pace for 19 now for the year. And Cobb Cody, he's 2.5 star. I didn't know if he was somebody I haven't really noticed, but he pitches a shutout, looks like. So game 2 against San Francisco, another win, 7-3. So 2 big wins for us. Trammell, though, struggling, 0 for 5 in this game. Ramirez, 3 for 5, scored a couple runs. Gibson, a great game, 3 for 5, drove in 3. Sincel, overall still struggling at 236 batting average. Even Long is not doing too well, 272 on the year. And Alcantara got his second win, 6 pretty good innings from him. So looking at the news again, Kenley Jansen finally signs. I made a play for him in the offseason. Just wound up, he signs for $26.2 million. It just the bidding just started getting too high for me to go with. So now 3rd game against San Francisco, see if we can sweep it. And we lose 2-4, but we were able to win 2 or 3 from him. But unfortunately, St. Louis has passed us in the Central there. So for the game, Cab was 2 for 5, Long 2 for 4. Weaver, pretty bad outing, 4 innings, 4 runs. Fellows, another good performance from him in the bullpen. It might be time for, I don't know, maybe it's time to mix and match in that 5th spot in rotation and give Fellows a look. Let's see. Pitching staff right now, Luke Weaver is still, he's going to keep him in that 5th spot for now. So Jake McGee, food poisoning. He'll be out for a few days. Let me see. He was a free agent signing in the offseason. He's not doing too bad. I figured he would be primarily a lefty specialist, and he's looked okay. He's just signed for 1 year, but a 2.31 ERA, not too bad for him. And looking at the news, so the Brewers are 18-25. This is another. We need to really get going on this one. It looks like St. Louis has been on a roll. They've won 3 straight. We've lost 6 of our last 10, so we've been struggling. The Cubs, though, are below 500 for the year. They're really struggling. So game 1, Milwaukee, big win, 16-3. So the offense got going here. Trammell 2 for 3, scored 2, drove in 2. Trevor Cadd 2 for 5, scored 2, drove in 3. Ramirez, did he hit another home run? Nope. But Senzel, great game, 3 for 5, drove in 4. Long, Feliciano, Simmons, good offensive performances there. And Molly picked up his 5th win, 6 innings, 3 runs, 7 Ks, so pretty good for him. Game 2 with Milwaukee, lost 8-1. We're kind of struggling staying consistent right now. And this was Keuchel, still stuck on 1 win, and Archie Bradley hasn't looked too great. I signed him for multi-year, like 3-year contract. He hasn't looked too good for me so far this year. Fellows, another scoreless outing for him, 2 innings, 4 Ks, but man, pretty poor pitching performance there. Game 3 against Milwaukee. So we come out winners to take the series. We're still a half game back, though, in that division. Let's see how we won the game. Trammell 2 for 5. His average is up to 313. Still having a great productive year so far. Senzel, another good game. Gibson, good game from him. Castillo is 6th win, 7 strong innings, two earned runs, no walks, 2 Ks. On pace for 20 wins. That would be good for him. Highest he's gotten for us is 15. Let's take a look at the news for the week. Alan Cordoba, San Diego, off to a 20-game hitting streak. Players of the week, Anderson Tejada for the Rangers. Not too familiar with him, but Acuna, of course, I'm familiar with him. He's having a great year. He's hitting 400 plus now, and that would be some amazing years. An amazing year if he does this, but on pace for a 14.8 wins above replacement. I have not seen a year that high ever in playing this game. But I feel like I'm sure he's going to come off that pace because we're early. But this would be kind of his numbers, and overall, he's the kind of guy I would think could put up one of those kind of monster, unbelievable years. I think he would be a guy who could do it, kind of like Trout in his prime maybe. And so for the team rankings, power rankings, we are 8th, and St. Louis is 5th. So looking at the standings, we've won 5 of our last 10, so we're playing 500. St. Louis is won 7 out of 10. We would still be on pace for the wild card, but I would really like to win the division this year. Trevor Cad's come down a little bit from his average. He's a down 2 on his overall ratings. My scout just has him at a 1.5 overall with a 4-star potential. I think that's lower than he's been primarily. And I want to take a look at the waiver wire one more time. Nope, Freddie Peralta, pitcher. I feel like eventually I'm still going to be interested in picking up somebody to help out depth-wise. And you can see we're playing just 500 in May. Offensively, those numbers are starting to come in line the way I thought. But pitching, we're still struggling. So bullpen ERA, not so bad. But that starters ERA, those 4th and 5th starters, I think have been pretty hit or miss so far this year. And Keuchel hasn't done too well since maybe the first couple weeks of the season. So let's go ahead. We got a big series coming up against Chicago, and they're at 500 now, so they may be starting to play a little bit better. Thankfully, we are at home, so let's get through this series and see how we do. First game against Chicago, win 2-1, a close one. And we're tied now with St. Louis in the top of the division. Cab was hitless, so he's starting to struggle a little bit. But Ramirez, 2 for 3, drove in 2, was the offensive hero of the game. His 14th home run, so on pace for some good home run numbers still. Alcantara, good outing, but didn't get the win. Green picked up his 12th save. And looking at news, anything big there? The All-Star voting is starting. Game 2 with Chicago. Another win, 4-3. So we're going to win this series. We jump up a game ahead of St. Louis. Ramirez, another good game, 2 for 5, drove in 3. Let's see, Senzel averages up a little bit, 243. Pitching wise, Weaver had a good game but didn't get the win. Bradley, even though he struggled overall numbers wise, he picked up his 5th win in relief. That's pretty good. Green, his 13th save. Bounce back over to the news. Carlos Santana hit his 300th home run. Trout hit his 400th home run after a really great year last year. He's still on pace for some good monster type home run. I think I mentioned it before. I think his numbers in some ways are probably going to wind up being better than Mickey Mantle's. Like, he might have more hits. But I think Trout, his numbers, if you were to look at them side by side, it seems like I just see, even though Trout maybe hasn't had multiple 50 home run years like Mantle may have done, I just feel like there's a similarity in their numbers in this playthrough and the career Mantle had. But he's still playing tough. He's still 5-star rated too from my scout and OSA. Looks like Sonny Gray's injured. Let's take a look. Did we look at this and see how we won it? Yeah, we did. Okay. And then third game, let's see if we can sweep the Cubs. And we do a big 2-0 shutout. And Ramirez 2 for 3, his average up to 297. He had a good series there. Cedric Long starting to hit really good. His average is up to 297 on the year. Molly picked up his 6th win. It's kind of that consistency issue there with him, but 7 1/3, no runs, 9 Ks. Good outing from him. And let's see if there's any big news here. So now we're going up against Arizona, who is at 500, and we're going to be on the road. This could be a tough series for us, but we're a game and a half now up over the Cardinals, so I'm hoping we keep this momentum going. First game, tough loss, 11-12 in extra innings. Trammell, a good game, 4 for 6. Cad, 3 for 7. Senzel, pretty good game from him. Cedric Long, good game. Pitching-wise, Keuchel, 6 innings, no earned runs, but Bradley hammered again in relief. Peralta, McGee, some pretty poor outing there. We even had to throw Castillo in there, who wound up getting the loss, his first of the year. So not the way you want to start that series. And now game 2, another big loss, 7-12. Our pitching is starting to worry me a little bit. We're down now a half game against St. Louis in the division. Senzel's average, though, is back up above 250, barely. But Alcantara, 4 1/3, didn't give up a run, but man, Hunter Green was rocked in relief. So was Bradley. Fellows, that should do it for him. I think I'm going to have to really send him down to the minors at this point. And then let's see what this last game gives us. But I'll take a look at the All-Star voting first, see if we got anybody getting votes. And let's see. Cam Gibson is picking up some votes in left field. Taylor Trammell getting some votes. He's second in the right field voting. No starting pitchers, but Chad Green is getting some votes. He was an all-star last year as a reliever, so he might have a chance again this year. So let's finish out this series against Arizona. Hopefully we can salvage a win. And we don't. Swept. Lose 5-10. So Trammell, Cad, Gibson. Offensively, 5 runs. That wasn't too bad. But Weaver was rocked. Hunter Green was rocked. Pitching-wise, we're starting to struggle. Let's see. Benintendi Player of the Week in the American League. Nicky Lopez for Arizona in the National League. And then power rankings, we are down to 9th. But we are game and a half now behind St. Louis and tied for that last spot in the wild card. So we've lost some ground for sure since we started this episode. About to finish up the month of May. I think I'm going to have to really start looking at the pitching staff right now. And I think what it's going to come down to for sure is I need to that's pitiful. So we were last in a couple categories. I think Drake Fellows, even though it might impact his development, he really needs to, I think, go down right now. And Luke Weaver not doing well. Hunter Green not doing well. Those guys I really need to play a little bit better than they are. And Archie Bradley is really struggling too. Now, if I look in the AAA, what I've got Santillan looking pretty good as a starter at Louisville. I don't think he's going to start, obviously, in the majors. But there's Maciel looking pretty decent, but he's just a 2-pitch pitcher. I think Ohanian is somebody I would probably want to call up for Fellows, and maybe even Rivera here, who's looked pretty good. He's not going to be a closer in the majors, but he's looked pretty good. I might give him a little bit more time, but I think it's time to shake up pitching staff a little bit. And looks like Puck's been injured. He has been doing too well though. But that's how I'm going to leave it for this episode. I'll probably play ahead. I'll go through the draft and might jump back in here around the All-Star break, see how we're doing, see if we can get back on track. I think we've still got a good enough team that we can make the playoffs, but we're going to have to right the ship on that pitching rotation. Something just ain't right. I'm probably just going to work on sending a couple guys down and mixing and matching between AAA and the majors to see if some of these guys can get back on track, like Fellows and Hunter Green. They're both young, so hopefully sending them down now won't impact their development too much, but we got to do something. But as always, thanks for watching. Appreciate the likes, and hope you're still getting some enjoyment out of this series. Hopefully we can make it to the World Series pretty soon, and if we do, I'll probably move on from this series and pick up another one. But again, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next episode.